Hello, good morning. Whatalo whatu whawhanganga lea tunu ua mawhai o na mai mo mai le nei Polkalame. A on whatalofa whapitoa, a pleasant good morning to my foundation law students. We continue with our lectures on coming to you live on NUS TV as a platform while the campus is closed at the moment. Ole, we have some in-house matters for you students to know. O kako tutorial exercises, you can send it in via email, send it to me or Miss Fa'aunu Amitai, or send it through the Moodle. Some of you have sent with apologies. It does not matter. Kusapa wakuai, send it in for assessments and records. So you can send it in this week via email, or you can send it in a Moodle. O le kako assignment 2 and due taiao. Hold on to the assignment. I will send by email. We will know by tomorrow, pe continue the shutdown, pe to amata next week. If I amaka next week, then you can bring it in. If I continue on the closed per campus, then we'll work something out in the Yamawa Uma assignments and hand in my ile pusa o le ainuma le gate i le kako NUS. For Savaii students, I will be in Savaii next Thursday pe a whai e tu maupea on the close i le tātou campus. So for all tutorial exercises, they are assessed exercises, so send it in. Kusapa wakuai, you've gone beyond the date that you send it in by email or by or le Moodle. Otherwise, o kako assignment, ia e diu pe a whai e whamaunia, ia e a e mai le asungafua, ia o mai le mamai a le ai. We'll work something out next week. E au ai upolu nei, ia maualaku i Savaii, ia e whamaupopo i foi assignments tamaiti Savaii. You don't have to come to upolu e ke ka whao vale ai. Okay. Our lecture for today will focus on topic 4, which is the courts and court proceedings. O whaamsinonga, male whaatinoina o whaamsinonga. O sei tūtāua i le whaakaokoinga, we have studied the 3 arms of government. It is the function of Parliament to make laws. And Parliament, it is established under Article 42 of the Constitution. It's just a recap. And Parliament is empowered by law under Article 43, which is their function is to make laws. That's Parliament. Then the executive or the government consisting of the Prime Minister and Cabinet under Article 31 and under Article 32 of the Constitution, they implement the laws. And today's lecture, the courts. The courts and how the court processes is implemented. So topic 4, the courts and court proceedings. But this is what you should know. All courts must be established by law. And the law is the Constitution. Mai na le TV nga waku le Article 65 of the Constitution. That is the authority established by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is the principal court. There shall be a Supreme Court of Samoa, which is a superior court of record and shall consist of a Chief Justice and such number of other judges as may be determined by the Judicial Service Commission. So that's the first court, the Supreme Court, established by law under Article 65. Then we have another court, Article 73 of the Constitution. Mangakua, the Constitution is the highest law, the top law, the superior law, the supreme law of the nation. Lea yele authority lea were established in Article 65 in the Supreme Court, o lea foi established under Article 43, establishment and constitution of the Court of Appeal. That's Article 73. E awhiai foi la ia the Chief Justice of Samoa, judges of the Supreme Court of Samoa, and retired judges of the Supreme Court of Samoa. That's the Court of Appeal. Bear in mind, in the hierarchy of the courts, hierarchy of the courts, the highest court is the Court of Appeal. And the principal court is the Supreme Court. So the question, so why is the Court of Appeal higher than the Supreme Court when the Supreme Court established a court in Samoa? Kali, you must know, decisions, the decisions of the Supreme Court are subject to be appealed in the Court of Appeal. And that is why the Court of Appeal is the highest court, because they can reverse the decisions of the Supreme Court. So it still remains that the Supreme Court is the principal court, but the Court of Appeal under Article 73 is the highest court. And the reason is, ale Supreme Court e mawhai o na toe suia ele Court of Appeal. And the Court of Appeal, the highest court, that's where things end. O ngai muta o mai me tau whamsinonga o le whai unga lavalai au mai ele Court of Appeal, that is final. So Article 65, Supreme Court, Article 73 establishes the Court of Appeal. O ka kako se mai lea, in Article 78 of the Constitution, it reads, subordinate courts. There shall be a subordinate court possessing such jurisdiction and powers as may be provided by Act. Article 78 lenga. Article 78, subordinate courts. There shall be such subordinate courts possessing such jurisdiction and powers as may be provided by Act. So what is a subordinate court? Subordinate court, or the upu subordinate, means something lower or lower than. So subordinate court is lower than the Supreme Court. Subordinate court is lower than the Court of Appeal. A lewhai mai e kakau o ngā whakingo i se tūla whono e tuina mai provided by Act. So we have a district court under Article 78. And the Act is District Court Act 1969. Galai whaavai ai le subordinate court, mai sila courts here where ngei pe o le family court, e le yele youth court, they are also all established by Act, provide by Yarku La Fongo, e whaavai ai ia whaamsinonga. Ia o whaamsinonga ia ne taua e lalo ifo le Supreme Court, ia male Court of Appeal. Then we come to Article 104. Is the authority provided by the Constitution that establishes land and titles court. O le vaenga se lau ma le whā, Se lau ma le whawai, customary land and titles protection, there shall be a land and titles court comprising of A, land and titles first court, B, land and titles high court, and C, land and titles court of appeal and review. So as I said, all courts must be established by law. So let's go back to the Court of Appeal. It is established by law under Article 73. Supreme Court, it is established by law under Article 65 of the Constitution. Subordinate courts are established by law provided by the Act under Article 78 of the Constitution. And then we come to Article 104, is the authority provided by the Constitution that establishes the Land and Titles Court. So, o le whakulanganga ngā wharetula whono, i le whawaina o whaamasinonga o le malo Samoa i lalo o le whawai, which is the highest law and the top law of the land. So again, you have to be mindful that all courts must be established by law. No court can function and operate without the Constitution and the law. E ka kauanga established under law, so o se whaamasinonga i to tono le atunungu. So, nalawa i non whasalonga manusi anga whanawhawai, i na ia e malamalama, i le tūlanga, o le whawaina o tātou whaamasinonga, e whawaina fo'i, wha le tūla whono. So we come to topic 4, the courts and court proceedings. There are two legal systems that operates the courts, or how the courts function. Kanga kusi ke fo se sena e si pela ngai lunga. Adversarial system and inquisitorial system. Adversarial system and inquisitorial system. You must know both adversarial system and inquisitorial system are common law systems. Le function ai kako courts. Le operate le whatinonga proceedings a le whaamasinonga. E lua lava mea ia e manatua ma whaatau e ke sila fia ai ma e loa le ai the two legal systems that operate the courts of Samoa. One, adversarial system, lua, inquisitorial system. You must also note that both systems are common law systems. So na whanau common law. Nalo common law is the legal system of England. Lewa adopt Samoa, that's why we are known as common law people, and refers to previous decisions of the courts and how the courts function. Adversarial system, but inquisitorial system, they are both common law systems. Okay, let's move on. Whamanino yo ko malama, po le ala le system e ka o le adversarial system. Kama kusi lalo. Adversarial system is the system whereby lawyers represent parties. Comma. Lawyers argue the law. They present evidence. They call witnesses. They submit affidavits. all is presented before a judge sitting alone. And then the judge will decide. Adversarial system is the system whereby lawyers represent parties. Lawyers, they argue the law. They present evidence. They call witnesses. They submit affidavits. All is presented before a judge sitting alone, and then a judge or the judge will decide. Okay. Lawyers represent parties. In the adversarial system, it is always a must that parties must be represented by lawyers. Lawyers, they argue the law. Lawyers will call witnesses. Lawyers will present evidence. Lawyers will also present affidavits. Nea umala ia whingau loia a wala aua lea vaenga kua kune loia whai whinaunga mamoli numa o whamsinonga mori mau, mamoli numa o whamsinonga whamaumaunga, mamoli numa o whamsinonga ia whamtalanga tautō. Wala au matangata e su e numa o whamsinonga. That is how the process of adversarial system. And then, all said and done, whinaunga uma whantula whono, then a judge sitting alone will decide. Ia o le winga le ngā adversarial system. O le kele o le whamatalaina o le whinaunga ia iai lo ia. It's a requirement of legal representation, and that refers to lawyers. Lawyers are also known as litigators. They do the litigation and they litigate. Lātou te whaia whinaunga whātu la whono I luma o le whaamsinonga. That is adversarial system. And a judge sitting alone, e ala I le whaalongolongo o le whaamasino, whaikau I molimau, whaamaumaunga leo tu I nātu. That is where e whātusatusa I le silafia I le whaamasino o mata auputau le tū la whono e mawhai ai o na tui na mai sana whaaiunga. You must note, it is always a judge sitting alone. A practice la in the Supreme Court. A practice for la in the District Court. If I keep on foil adversarial system, in lunga o in the Court of Appeal, where lawyers argue the law, afai e kolu wha parties, ruiga wha lo e lawyer, they just present their arguments of law tu nātu luma o whaamsinonga, whaamaumaunga, e mawhaina whaamaunia la tau whinaunga. Wala auka ngaka e mawhaina o mai kukui luma e su e ia whaamaukuinga la ko mōli mau. And then all said and done, the judge sitting alone will decide to ina mai whaaiunga. E whaamai I lana whaari ni wina o le tū la whono, ma whinaunga ia sa tu ina mai. So that is adversarial system. We come next to inquisitorial system. Inquisitorial system is practiced in the land and titles court only. Ele practicing ai lunga o le Supreme, ele practicing ai lunga o le Court of Appeal, na o le land and titles court. Kanga kusi lalo. Inquisitorial system is a system whereby a panel of judges will investigate the parties involved. Inquisitorial system is the system practiced in the land and titles court whereby a panel of judges will investigate the parties involved. Full stop. At the conclusion of their investigation, they will decide. At the conclusion of their investigation, they will decide. So that's inquisitorial system. Inquisitorial system e ngā o le land and titles lava e practice ai. Noti lalo, there are no lawyers involved in land and titles court matters. Ele involve loia. Ngā o le adversarial system e iei loia. Inquisitorial system e o mai ai tū whaamsinonga. O e wakalsanga, ma la tu foi finaunga, ai sue. Ele panel of judges. When we speak of a panel of judges in land and titles court, it can be a total of 3 judges, 4 or 5. A panel of judges consists of 3, 4, or 5. As opposed to adversarial system, a judge sitting alone. Look at all city qualifications. We'll get to that later. And how the courts operates. So again, inquisitorial system, practicing land and titles court, a panel of judges. They will investigate the parties involved. You have to note, land and titles court, ngā au ta upu lava tau suafa matai, ma ta upu tau whanua whaaleanga nu. A o lunga la in adversarial system, ia ko nena kaku koe o e koe whamakala kuisi mea, ai e ese mai nai lo le land and titles court, it's specific on matai titles and customary land. And how the land and titles court operates, it operates under inquisitorial system. A panel of judges investigate the parties involved. And upon their investigation, they will decide. Ia, e o whesiri po ahala whawhenga whainlako investigation. E iei meo tālo sanga, o lea kako wo e se kaime, I'm just giving you a hint. E iei meo tālo sanga, e whaima meo tala tūsia. Ia o ngafa, e su e uma, investigate. Ele panel of judges. E su a whai ai whape e lima I tū o whapasinonga, e su e uma lava e whapasingo I e ko lima I tū whapasinonga I e ko wha. mai su'esu'ega ia, mai i ngafa ia ua su'esu'e e le fa'amasinoga, mai talosaga ia ua silasila i ai le fa'amasinoga, o inā e mafai ona o'o i ai le fa'amasinoga fanua ma suafa i se taunu'uga e tu'uina mai ai la latou fa'ai'uga. It's the investigation. A fire panel of judges, and then they will decide. So that is adversarial system as opposed to inquisitorial system. Well, I hope ua mawhai o e mau mai le whaatūlangaina o le whaamasinoga. Therefore, lau kaua e malama i le hierarchy of courts. I want to say the hierarchy of courts, but the hierarchy of laws. Hierarchy of laws, the highest law, constitution, legislation, subsidiary legislation, common law, customary law, and then international law. That's the hierarchy of laws. The hierarchy of the courts, the highest court or the Court of Appeal, under Article 73. Then the Supreme Court, under Article 65. And then we come to the subordinate court, 78, the District Court, Basic Court, or the Land and Titles Court. It's also known as a special court. It is established under the Constitution in Article 104. Ma kaurelei kusinalo, you should know, by a bandino ai. Now we come e kilo a ngai I kuaiga proceedings as asset, different types of court proceedings. A whai wa umaga print out notes le lei, a whai le ai koe wa aile topic 4, ma whai ka wai, but criminal proceedings, civil proceedings, and appellate proceedings. Those are the different types of court proceedings. Marakua e ese legal systems here, adversarial, but inquisitorial. And now we come to the different types of court proceedings. Civil proceedings and criminal proceedings. Ka kia le appellate proceedings I ka komo aku murmuri ai. So, ala ku se fesilio le suenga, can you distinguish between civil matters and criminal matters? Kusinalo fesilio. Can you distinguish between civil matters and criminal matters, or civil issues and criminal issues? Or simply, what is civil matter and what is criminal matter? Okay, kagone koe kusirikani ina ia iloa. Civil matters is to do with claim of rights. Civil matters is to do with claim of rights. Whereas criminal matters is violation of the Crimes Act 2013. Kai whalongo makusi lalo, civil matters involves claim of rights. Claim, C-L-A-I-M, rights, R-I-G-H-T-S. Koe ofo pe awhai kokene ino asi pena students. Claim of rights. Praka nai whasa moa, ma ta upu tau wai a tau. So, civil matters is to do with claim of rights, o mata upua fianga o ai a tau whaatagata soifua, and criminal matters, violation of the Crimes Act 2013, o lona winga soli le tūlafono. ua soli le tulafono. O longa e se'esega ga civil proceedings ma criminal proceedings. Civil proceedings o mataupu lava tau ai a tatau. A'afiaga o wai a tatau, it's always civil. A o a'afiaga o soli ga tulafono, ia ua soli tulafono lai fa'atonu mai. E le tulafono soli ga tulafono Samoa lua o tasitolu. Se kaimi e ira kako assignment 4, kako ke focus ai le Crimes Act 2013, e ke iloa ai le ke le ofa inga o soli ga tulafono, lai fa'amaumau uma i le kako tulafono soli ga tulafono. E iai le ngaoi, fasitangata, kauko pepelo, e iai le anu fua le whanaolisi a inga, e iai le anu se fua i le poso, o se koe ngā soni ngula fongo, ia po lo whai o me se a fia istangata, a fia o tūlanga na a fia ka whaasoni ka tulafono. Le wingal na ai mo le teimi nei, o le kako focus mua i le civil. What is civil? Claim of rights. O alama afianga, e afiai o wai at tau. That will always be a civil matter. O mata upu e toi whaalelei ei se mea ua whaale tonu. O mata upu tau civil matters, it's not to do with punishment. Ele ni whasalanga. Ai o le whai o le mea sao, ona o se tangata ua afia. Whakaika inga. The law of torts. A whai e pa'u le whanele ngei o le NUS, a o le whai aku le porokalame lea o ua afia ai. E le wha pe o soni kula fongo le NUS, ai vai po aina whaua le whale. O rongo winga i le leiga whai le whale. E responsible laka ngaka e whai le whale, a wai le i whai se whale wha moe ia pa'u. But that is an example o a fianga wha ai a tau wha le tangata. Ia pe o savali aku i whawhoi ole a o se ai ngaulo vai vātu whawhongaanga o ngai le o le leo de whaiwhasi tepu ole steps ole e responsible lava tangata e ana lea mea mai e na whaia. Ina ia mawhai o na toi tau whaafo ia ui le mea sa au iai a wā e leo se soni kula fongo. Ai ua o wā fia o wai at tau. Ai maisi o loo saonga le mu. So o ai e te tau o na tutongia tonga fitinga me o mawhapena, it's not a punishment. Ese mai le ngaoi ai whaamaunia le whaamsinonga, a me whaafan pui. Ai a whai e manu a seisi o na ua whaale tonu whasikepu pa ua vai le whale o a fianga na o mata upu ua a fia le tangata. It's a civil matter. E fina wina inga ia koe whaafoi loo le lei sa iai ona o le whaafita auli wa ali ali mai pe se tau whaamala mala maina le nā. A civil matter whakaikainga le leia le practice in a land entitled court. O ai a te tau whaasuli i le suafa matai, mai a ka kau whaasuli I ele whaalanganu. All matters with the land entitled court are civil matters because they involve mata upu taua I atu tau. Civil matters. Ese mai la I le alu I le whangua au mai fua popo le whangua o leisi a inga. That is criminal. Wa solid kula fongo. Wa trespass longa lua ua ngaoi. A mea umana lai tono le tātou tūlafono e le te tau o na whaia. O lo pui puia whaare tūlafono. O le tāua whaile nā le tūlafono pei kako, what is the purpose of law? Koe fo iai kua, what is the purpose of law? It provides legal protection. Nā te au maia le pui pui ngā whaare tūlafono mo tātou. Na winga nā le criminal. Ma tūlafono le criminal law na kako, ia pui puia kako a whaia ngā uia mea le tātou a inga, ia koe ma whainga koe maua mai. Su e po aile te ngata na whaia mea ai ave le tūlafono, ave le whaamsinonga, ave whaafan pui pui, whaasalanga nā. o le winga ngā criminal matters. Ai a whai o whiliwhilinga o suafa matai. Yeah, that is civil. O le whinaunga, o hai waka kaunga makai, o ye ise whaasolonga, o le suli lea, ai le suli lea, all that are all civil matters. E require ai, ia le whinaunga whaai a tatau. Le lai mafuai o na tumu whamsinonga whanua masuafa, o na o ai a tatau whaasuli, I mata upu tau whanua, ia ma mata upu tau suafa matai. I hope you are following me. Further to civil matters, pe o mea afia e talafu, mea kau konkalake. Those are also civil matters. A ualu e whaile loan, lere lenga kukongi le loan, yeah, it's a civil matter. E halanga civil matter, o ke le ingaoi, ai aga ulou, ai wane mwhainga kukongi. Ai a mai lole I unga al whamsinonga, ia kukongi lau loan, ai o le usika ia le kula fongo. Then, that's contempt of court. It turns criminal. O le kau whamanine o tu le senga o le civil and criminal. Civil matters is to do with claim of rights, whereas criminal matters is to do with violation of the Crimes Act 2013. We'll talk more at a later lecture. In civil matters, these are the legal terms for people involved in court proceedings in civil matters. So se tangata e whaulu sangatangi, pe sana talo sanga I se mata uputawa I at tau. That person or is the grieving person or the person initiating legal proceedings is known as plaintiff. Plaintiff. And wakulala fasili kako final exam, explain or define plaintiff. Ai kango kusi mai le kali ngai li wenga ele sa. No, le ai ele ole le sa, ele o ako ko le kali. Ai an wakul fasili, what is a plaintiff? Kango la kusi na le kali le kilo akili pe yai. What is a plaintiff? Ole kali, it is a party, it is the party. It is the party who initiates a course of action. It is a party who initiates a course of action by filing a statement of claim with the registrar of the courts. A plaintiff is the party who initiates a course of action by filing a statement of claim with the registrar of the courts. Plaintiff. It is the party who initiates a course of action by filing a statement of claim with the registrar of the courts. That's the best definition of plaintiff in civil matters. Then come to the next question. Then what is a statement of claim? It's the plaintiff is the party who initiates a course of action by filing a statement of claim with the registrar. What is a statement of claim? What is a statement of claim? It is a legal document. It is a legal document filed by the plaintiff with the registrar of the courts. outlining the claim against the defendant. What is a statement of claim? A statement of claim is a legal document filed by the plaintiff with the registrar of the courts. That document outlines the claim against the defendant. So whenever you see the word plaintiff, it should automatically come into your mind, it is civil matter. Plaintiff is a grieving party. It is the party who initiates a course of action with the registrar of the courts by filing a statement of claim. And the statement of claim is the legal document filed by the plaintiff with the registrar of the courts, and that document outlined, if whakaoko mai ai, ia langa claim against the defendant. So plaintiff is the language of civil matters, never criminal. So in court cases, it will never be kasi se party. It's a case by a party against another party. So in civil matters, it is the case of the plaintiff against the defendant. In civil matters, it is the matter between a plaintiff against the defendant. Defining the plaintiff is the grieving party. It's the party who initiates a course of action by filing a statement of claim with the registrar of the courts. And a statement of claim is a legal document outlined by the plaintiff langa claim against the defendant. That brings us to the question, so what is a defendant in civil matters? Defendant is the party whom a claim is made against. The defendant is the party whom a claim is made against. So now sets in a kulanga of civil matters, it is always plaintiff against the defendant. Marakuala, lewa file a plaintiff like a claim against the defendant by a statement of claim. Therefore, now we define the defendant or the party there wa faianga a claim on the plaintiff. And the defendant has to respond by a statement of defense. The defendant will respond by a statement of defense. Statement of claim, but now it's a statement of defense. What is a statement of defense? Again, it is a legal document filed by the defendant with the registrar of the courts. A statement of defense is a legal document filed by the defendant with the registrar of the courts disputing, a disputai peke keai ile claim ale plaintiff. A statement of defense is a legal document filed by the defendant with the registrar of the courts disputing the claim by the plaintiff. So in civil matters, it is always a claim by the plaintiff against the defendant. I hope ko maua mai, in civil matters le focus yen kaku kalagoa. So civil proceedings, criminal proceedings. In criminal proceedings, representing the grieving party in criminal proceedings or the police on behalf of the complainant or the victim. It is the police on behalf of the complainant or the victim. So se pita au puta solga tula fono. Pe wha o lima seisia ke au. The police will investigate. The police will press charges on my behalf. The police will file the charges to the courts. And then it is the police against the accused. E le whapea, o a o Fesola'I leo wala vea i le whanga, ai whapea ke koe o le ai, e le whapea o se kangi a au i whamsidonga. It is the police that represent me, the victim, or the complainant. The police will represent me. I le whatinonga suesuenga, ma le whai o mōrianga, I le tangata na whao o manua I a tau. So it is always the police that represent the victim or the complainant. Po le tangata lea na awhia so na tulafono. O le kangaka lea na wha kupua na wha lave is called the accused. E le o le defendant, note that. O le defendant I lunga civil, so se tangata e mōlia I so ngā tulafono na whamsinonga, they are not the defendant, they are known as the accused. O kangaka o lo kua ia. Accused. Well, I know the question that will raise my lo mawhawhau. Why are they called the accused? Because there is a legal principle. I mea tau sori ngā tulafono. E le mawhai o na tau salaina se tangata, se ia wanganau whaamaonia e le whaamasinonga. Only the court can convict, only the court can whai mai ua guilty. E le mawhai e leo leo, e le mawhai e le official le loia sini po ai lava. Just the courts. Everyone is innocent unless proven guilty by a court of law. So in criminal proceedings, police represent the victim, known as the complainant. It is the case of the police against the accused. Why accused? Because the principle states that everyone is innocent unless proven guilty by a court of law. Hope o e mala mai le mele lo kau whaasoa tuai vaenga ia. Whaamaunu nei lalo. So that's civil proceedings, criminal proceedings. Then we come to the appellate proceedings. E mawhai o ngā appeal decisions a le District Court i le Supreme Court. O whaiunga fo'i a le Supreme Court, although it's a principal court, but their decisions are subject to be appealed in the Court of Appeal. So that is a classic example of the appellate proceedings. A iese ka ngaka i le malia le whaiunga a le District Court judge, that person or that party can appeal le whaiunga District Court in the Supreme Court. A whai ku mau peonga le malia le whaiunga le Supreme Court, that person or that party can appeal in the Court of Appeal. And then that's where things end. Court of Appeal is the highest court in there to do. Then we come to the Land and Titles Court. It has its own Court of Appeal. Pea na whātulaga mai i le whāwae, lera si kako koe kasi an whāwae. Se kau i lo male umal kako session mo mua gei. Article 104, Customary Land and Title Protection. There shall be a Land and Titles Court comprising of 1. Land and Titles Court, First Court. Bracket and Fasamoa, Ulua isu esuenga. Whaamisinonga, Whanua Maswafa, Ulua isu esuenga. B. Land and Titles High Court. C. Land and Titles Court of Appeal and Review. Ia rau te lenga na whata oto mai le selau ma le wha, a o le oto tonga ta itasi la lea le selau ma le wha a. (104A) Land and Titles First Court, there shall continue to be a Land and Titles First Court, which shall be a court of record. Ia nai whatulaga mai ai la tau e whatinoina ngā luenga o lea foi ulua isu esuenga. O le selau ma le wha B, Land and Titles High Court, whaamisinonga maualunga. O lona winga, o whai unga a le whaamisinonga le lalo le selau ma le wha A, e ma whai o ngā apili i le whaamisinonga le a selau ma le wha B, Land and Titles High Court. E iei foi la ma le selau ma le wha C, Land and Titles Court of Appeal and Review. Le wha samoa ina whaamisinonga o whanua masuafa o talo sanga mailo i longa. O lona winga fo i la, e ma whai unga a le whaamisinonga maualunga le se lau ma le wha B, e ma whai o na toi talo sanga apili i le whaamisinonga lea. Land and Titles Court of Appeal and Review le se lau ma le wha C. Wala na whaino atu ia vaenga, students, for your knowledge, o le appellate proceedings. O isi fo ia, ai a te tau whaale tangata, a le malia i le whai unga, le iei awala e mawhai o ngā wia. Awa e mawhai o na se le whai unga, e mawhai o na le tusa maritu la whono le whai unga, and the remedy is e mawhai o na apili, o le remedy o le sia vanoa. The remedy is available a e le fia le whai unga District Court, e mawhai o na apili i le Supreme. A ku maupelo le fia, o na le o sao whaaritu la whono, you can appeal, file an appeal i le Court of Appeal, which is the highest court. Whapena whona le whaamsinonga whanua masuafa. Whaamsinonga mua, a whai e tu ina mai le whai unga i te taritonu, e leo tusa maritu la whono, e mawhai o ngai apili i le whaamisinonga maualunga. A fai fona tu ina mai le fai unga le whaamsinonga maunga e te tali tonu e leo sao lava e mawhai o na apili I lunga o le whaamsinonga o Talosanga mai loilonga le ta ua Court of Appeal and Review. We have 5 more minutes. Ia whaalonga mai, mo lava kako lecture mo nei tai au. I will come back to you live on this TV and NUS at 2 o'clock. Umaloa ia fai se malolonga, alu koe refresh our notes ngā wa fai, ai 2 o'clock, kako continue la ia, I le kako lecture lava lea, ma kako wanga ia ku I le topic 5, o le topic 5 o le statutory requirement, statutory and common law requirements for the functioning of the courts. Manaonga whaawhae, manaonga wha common law, I le whaatinonga au aunanga, a le whaamasinonga. Koe whaalago mai, statutory and common law requirements for the functioning of the courts. Nai whaamanatu ia. Nai whaamanatu ia, kau mawhai ngei makai ao, send mai le emaili I tutorials. I will send my email for the Moodle assignment. You have to hold on to your assignment. Se o fai aku le kaimi. E au mai ai a fai e koe a e vai aso lea, then you can bring it in. A fai e koe continue pele shutdown. O lea fai le whakakau e au ai I assignment I upolu gei. Ia maua fo I masasa o ke lakwa I savai. E au mai assignments a le ka students mai savai. Ava ai se koe vai fai whaare assignments. I've been telling you all along, fai whaare assignments. Don't bluff me. Because you don't get by me when you bluff me. Ai koe vai whaare lei fasili, leo koe maua lisi avanoa. Koe vai whaare lei fasili, address the questions. Yeah, every single mark or even a half mark is precious. I would like to whatamala, tutorials, mau ai foi lisi Fesola'I ia whatasi ma kako assignments. Ia whatasi e marasuenga ia pea o le teimi whatulangai. Walava le kako lecture mo le nei yaso, come back, please come back to the front of your TV at 2 o'clock. Koe whai e lisi kako 1 hour session ia satisfy e foi le kako curriculum mo le nei vai yaso. See you at 2 o'clock. Ia, manguia le yaso.